We open on a scene with Isabella and Krone, and right off the bat, you can see that if you look at the date of this episode, it says 18th of October 2045, and the last episode was 13th of October 2045, so it's been 5 days, and you're just now giving her a room? Where has she been sleeping for the past days? Bro's been homeless, and Isabella's just now like, you know what? You can have a room. Or did it just take her 5 days to set up a whole room? I don't know. Jokes aside though, although it's unclear, maybe the scene takes place right after the review of last episode. That would make the most sense. If you haven't watched the last episode, then don't worry, you don't need to in order to understand this video, but it does give a lot of context, so maybe check out the playlist link in the description, you know, if you want to. After you're done with this video, of course. But yeah, Krone's been tactically placed between the children's rooms like a tourbillon tower in order to keep watch of the children.
That's sure gonna be inconvenient.
She's between the 3 children's rooms. It'll be easier for her to watch us.
And can I just say, the fact that all of Isabella's suspects are just down there eyeing her up, like...
He's just standing there, menacingly!
How sus can you be? Don't stand there and watch. But nah, they smiled, so suspicion averted, I guess. Just don't scout her out. They both seem quite weirded out by this. It's like that one scene from Rick and Morty when Morty stares at the squirrels.
That kid is watching us.
So, we're squirrels. He's a kid.
He's watching us like he hears what we're saying.
Norman, Ray, and Emma are in the library talking about this new situation they found themselves in. For one, my theory was obviously wrong before, because if it's been 5 days, does this mean they've literally just started talking about this now? Like what have you all been chatting about for the last 5 days that's more important than this? GTA 6? Gossiping about the Don X Gilda shipping? Discussing what in fact the dog was doing?
Won't you take me to Monkey Town? I was so focused on the trackers that another adult never crossed my mind.
We should be happy about this. With Carol and Sister Krone here, we have 2 new sources of info.
This shows the difference in Norman and Ray's character traits. While Norman's annoyed that he hasn't seen this move coming from Isabella, Ray's already coming up with an idea on how to use the situation to his advantage. Maybe he did anticipate this and just didn't tell anyone, or maybe that's just how he is.
First off, where did they both come from? If this place is a farm, they must have a base where they prepare all the 1-year-olds to resupply the house.
Do you think we all came from that place at some point?
Probably. And I bet Sister Krone did too.
It is confirmed in the Promised Neverland Season 2 that there is indeed a main base where the stock is supplied to the farm, so he is later confirmed to be right. However, I will say this, although I love this anime, I will not be covering the Promised Neverland Season 2 after this series. There are many reasons for this, but the one that you'd probably expect the most, as you've probably heard, it kinda sucks. There are many videos that explain why it kinda sucks more than I can in this small portion of this video, like these ones for example, but TLDR, it skips out so much of the manga that the story doesn't even really make sense. Characters appear out of nowhere, backstories are unexplored, and it's just a huge mess. And if I'm honest, I'm not even fully caught up in the manga post season 1 finale. There are definitely some things to analyze in season 2, and it's not completely a shipwreck. There are definitely some good moments. However, I'm not the right person to do that, because I'm not really that passionate about season 2, and I do feel like season 1 is great on its own as a storyline. I know I could start making videos on the manga instead, and trust me, it's good. I just don't really want to make manga videos since I don't really read manga that often, and it's just annoying to edit, and it doesn't have the same effect as anime anyways. So after this series, I'll be doing a different anime, which I will not review yet, but stay tuned for it.
It's significant that there are adults other than Mom. It means there might be other farms similar to this one.
Norman is right here. So then the fact that there are other adults other than Isabella is an interesting thing to know. It means that Isabella isn't the only one who survived past 12 in this demon world, and there is a way for humans to survive. Since if Ray's statement is correct from last episode, they should be long dead. This shows that there is at least one way that humans can survive past 12 on the farm, if Mom is even a human at all. Dun dun dun. She is, but that would have been a cool twist.
Are the adults who work for the demons under their control from the time they're born, or after their capture? Knowing could change how we survive after escaping.
I wonder what Norman means by under their control, because obviously the demons are smart enough to not show the kid any book that mentions them in any way, since this could only bring up problems. So from Norman's point of view, he could be saying that the demons may have some sort of mind-controlling powers that cause these adults to be within their control. Or he just might mean that the demons are like influentially controlling the adults, like indirectly. Kind of like Taylor Swift with her fans. Wait, unless... Sorry, I really like that song. For all they know, this could be true. Why would fellow humans farm children of their own kind to be eaten by demons? Well, this is explained later, but in the manga we already get clued into the fact that the only reason Isabella is doing this is to survive, meaning that there's probably some threat of death if she doesn't do this. And I'll leave it at that for now.
Just based on mankind's existing technology, probably use radio waves. Need batteries. Something battery-powered that's small, doesn't leave a scar, and lasts over 10 years.
The deductions that Ray makes here kind of makes you question the reasons why the demons made this information available to the children in the first place. If they just needed something for the kids to read about, they could have just included things that were completely fantasy and have no real world application, and it's not like they would have noticed. Even if they did notice this, that's a lot better than them possibly escaping. These trackers could have been these magical things for all they knew if it wasn't for the fact that you gave them this information. The fact that you're aiming to have genius children in this farm as well makes the whole situation even more dumb. Late in the scene, they even say,
And if it's demon technology, we may as well give up.
You're right.
like it should be demon tech to them. Maybe you should hire one of these genius kids to be your advisor or some shit, because that's some rookie mistake right there. This shit's just obvious. Bros don't need to know about the fucking electromagnetic spectrum and shit. You know, they're food, not fucking physics majors. Just give them the useless abstract math to test them and then you're good. I know some of you who have watched the whole anime would remind me about where some of these books may have originated, and just wait, when we get there I'll explain why I still think it's dumb.
That kind of technology wouldn't exist in 2015. It's going to be difficult to find the location and then figure out how to break it.
As I mentioned before, this whole orphanage is an example of anachronism, not to be confused with asynchronism, which as a software engineering student is the cause of my last 3 fits of rage. Anachronism is the idea of an object existing in a time period that it doesn't belong to. Ever been to a Renaissance fair or even things like Harry Potter World? These places are built to make you feel like you're in a different time period than you are. A great example of using anachronism in media is WandaVision, where objects that shouldn't have existed in that time period clue the audience into knowing that something isn't right. This is how Gracefield is built as well. I pointed this out in episode 1 for those who have watched it. So it's interesting that the kids know that they're not in the Victorian era, since they haven't seen any of this technology ever. Which also begs the question, why put it in the books? What's the point of building the orphanage like this if you're just going to give them this information anyway? As mentioned before, anachronism is a powerful narrative device that has been used a lot in masterpieces before, and I feel it's kind of been underused in Promised Neverland. I feel if the kids were able to find this information out in a more sneaky way, where they find a secret room with all this new technology that they haven't seen before, it would make it a lot more natural and organic. But holy fuck, I've been ranting about this shit for so long and we are even 3 minutes into the episode. I shall move on, I'm sorry. Norman realized that in order to get this information about where the trackers are located, they can use one of their 2 new information sources.
Carol! She might still have a mark since she just arrived.
And yeah, sorry Carol, you're no longer a human, you're just an information source. Sorry about that. We cut to the scene with Sister Krone and Isabella.
I'd like to thank you personally for giving me the opportunity to come back to this side.
I simply made a request to have an assistant provided. It's not like I called for you specifically.
Oof, so cold already. Give her a chance, she's been nothing but nice so far.
I've heard a number of good things about you, like how you're the youngest ever to be selected as a mom and caretaker, and producing the highest grade merchandise among any of the plantations ever. For me to get to work under someone I admire, I am truly honored.
I have no need for lip service, and I have no time for small talk.
So we know now that not only are there other farms, but this is the one that turns out the best products. And Isabella is meant to be quite extraordinary. The way Isabella acts here makes it clear that she does not want to play around when it comes to her reputation as a farm keeper. It's above courtesy and social procedure. All that matters is that those kids do not escape.
Now then, let's get to work. These files cover each of my precious children. Memorize all of them right now. It should be easier than getting perfect scores on your daily test.
Some of the words can actually be made out here if you look very closely at these files. If I spent a lot of time, I could probably find all the legible words, but it probably is not the most important thing and therefore not really worth your time. Also, I can't be far. Isabella also notes that memorizing these files should be easier than getting perfect scores in her daily tests. This implies to us that not only was she previously subjected to daily tests, presumably on a farm like the children we see, she got perfect scores, meaning she was the top quality. And they chose not to kill and eat her for some reason, meaning there is a way to get out of a farm without being eaten. I like to quickly take notice of the lighting here. I notice how I said lighting and not colours. This is because the colour scheme of this scene and the last scene are almost identical, but the lighting portrays a much different mood than before, and this is obviously aided by the music as well. Haha, voice change again. This is future me. I just wanted to say that I did realise that in my past episodes I didn't really bring up the music too much. However, I do have a lot to say on it. I just thought that it didn't want to make the video too long. If you want me to go through the soundtrack in the videos as well, please leave a comment and I'll make sure to talk more about it. But it's crazy just how the lighting can change the entire mood of the scene. I would also like to point out at the beginning of the scene, Sister Krone is standing on the part of the room that's illuminated and Isabella stands in the dark. This could have been many things or just nothing, but as I mentioned last episode, the lighting and the palette of the scene is a way that animators is used to portray how the characters may be feeling, and I take this to mean that Sister Krone is in a more hopeful mindset than Isabella. Isabella doesn't really have any ambitions. Her only goal here is survival and maintaining her rank. Whereas Sister Krone, although we haven't seen it yet, she does have her goals and ambitions which we will get to see in the next scene, so naturally she'll be in a more hopeful mindset than Isabella.
Out of curiosity, why did you decide to call for an assistant?
They discovered the secret, and they saw the truck as well.
Well, according to the rules, we must find them and ship them out now.
Now hold it right there.
It's interesting that there are rules about this. I wonder if this has happened previously, or if it's a common occurrence at all that children find out.
It's all right.
This slow walk over to Krone shows the position of power that Isabella's in. She's able to keep the attention of Krone and walk right up to her with no problem.
You'll know you have the respect when you can take a moment and still keep their attention.
Amazing.
This power dynamic is also emphasized by when Isabella pulls Krone down so that she's looking down at her.
It's all right. I already have a good idea of who the targets are.
You do?
Likely two of the older children. We just have to ensure they don't escape before shipment.
So yeah, my theory from last episode was probably right. There are many ways in which the children were acting suspicious, and here it seems that Isabella knows that it's probably Emma, since being older is very rare in this farm, as you can see. And although it's unclear, I'd only really count 6 or 7 of these children as older, so I would not be surprised if Norman and Emma were already her prime suspects.
So you're not reporting it?
Not yet. I have procedures in place to deal with this, and you are my god. Don't think, just watch the children. I am the mom of this house, and you are nothing more than an assistant. Do you understand, Sister Krone?
She clearly takes this mom position very seriously, and it's unclear if it's out of fear or pride. I could see it both ways.
So surprising to think that the amazing Isabella would make such a huge mistake. And she's not reporting any of it, instead trying to cover up her failure. If I help her, she'll owe me big time, and I'll be rewarded for my hard work with a mom position to call my own.
She wants the mom position. That's the ambition I was talking about earlier. I bet you were hoping for something a little bit juicier, but no. I've heard some people say they don't like it when animes have a character lore dump of all their plans and ambitions in one scene, but in this case I feel like it's fine. Only because the character's not really the main focus of the series, and also the anime only has so much time to tell a story, and gradually showing her character over time would offer little to no interesting content in the story. She's got her one thing that she wants to do in the story, and I guess you could say the same for any other character in the series, but in this case it's so much more in your face than the other characters, in the sense that most other characters seem to have a little bit more nuance. This doesn't stop the anime from doing some cool stuff with her character though.
My, what's wrong, sweetie? Why are you crying so much, my precious one? Come on now, don't cry. You'd be happy too, wouldn't you, if I was promoted to a mom?
Her ambition to become a mom is personified, or should I say objectified, by this creepy looking doll. It's supposed to show us how much, you guessed it, she wants to become a mom. And she plans to do this by selling out Isabella and being her replacement.
You really think so? This could be my chance to move up? Then I can finally become a mom! If I were able to capture the children who know the secret and report her violation to the higher-ups, then Isabella will be fired! I think it's best to pretend to obey her, and then when she least expects it, take her position away!
Wow, I'm definitely not a parent, but I don't think you're supposed to throw your kid out of a ceiling. I'll slightly spoil later episodes, but many people in the mom position do indeed have a biological child of their own. It is assumed that the only people that are allowed to have biological children and live are the people in the mom position in these farms, which is probably Sister Krone's main reason for wanting a mom position. Also, I'd like to draw a connection between this doll that Krone has and Little Bunny. This is purely my personal theory, but I feel like the fact that Little Bunny was in perfect health and there's no scratch on her was a way to symbolize how Krone sees the world, where everything is perfect in her view. Whereas the battered, ugly doll shows how Krone knows how disgusting the world is, but she chooses to cuddle and love the doll anyway, which maybe symbolizes some denial in the circumstance that she's in.
I'll adore her.
Yeah. How do we make someone out to be the bad guy when everyone loves them?
As soon as they know we've escaped, they're gonna come after us.
There's only one way we can prevent that. The grown-ups will have to be.
Yeah, that's my emo kid. Ray's obviously implying that they must kill the adults in order to get out safely. Notice how shocked Norman is, even though he must have come to this conclusion as well. He's not a killer, and the thought of killing someone doesn't come easily to him.
You're Norman, and you're Ray, correct? I heard you get perfect test scores. That's amazing.
Krone is always portrayed to be quite unhinged and crazy. I'm pretty sure it's just to give the viewers an uneasy feeling, and so that we know she shouldn't be trusted. If this was the case, there are so many other ways to create that same feeling without her putting all these weird facial expressions. To me, it seems a little bit lazy, but maybe I'm missing something here, so let me know in the comments if you disagree.
What are you saying?
The way she looked at us, she suspects us.
Wait a sec. How'd she find that out?
Isn't it obvious? Mom told her. Mom is on our trail, and she's closing in on us.
They should have already known Mum was on their trail, but I guess it just gives more evidence. Meanwhile, the next scene, Emma's checking Carol for trackers.
Demons won't eat the tracking device, which means it's somewhere easy to remove.
Emma,
But where?
wanted to ask you something.
Wow, Gilda just getting aired here.
What's that? Is it a bug bite?
No, it's a mark from when they took our blood for testing. At least that's what Mom said. Nyla had it when she came, so did Markville and Connie.
Wait, so you knew about this? You just realized that every single child has a mark in the exact same place where they test the blood. I guess it is a good excuse for Mum, since they want to make sure the child is healthy, whether they're on an orphanage or just meant to be eaten. So even if the children do find out the nature of their existence on the farm, they wouldn't know, so it's understandable that it could slip your mind, but come on.
Regular check-in. Regular check-in. This is 73584 at Plant 3. October 17th. Situation normal. Ending transmission.
October 17th? So wait, this episode is meant to take place October 18th. So the date of the episode is when the episode ends and not begins? That is quite confusing, but I guess it explains a lot.
Grandma.
I have a message for you from the boss.
So Isabella's boss is called Grandma. The chain of command is very family-oriented. So the boss of Isabella, who is a mother, is a grandmother, and the assistant of the mother is a sister. But at that point, why not an aunt? But I guess it's a sister from the mom's perspective. If I had to guess, this is to give a farm runners a sense of family and togetherness, in order to keep them from acting out. It could make them more prone to authority and easier to control.
Those 3 can still be shipped out as scheduled, correct? Listen, Isabella. The other plants had a disappointing harvest this year, and only your plant can deliver the highest quality goods that are going to be offered during Tifari.
Yes, I understood that from the start. Please tell the boss everything is going fine. You may have any child whenever you wish.
The way that Isabella says this does give the impression that she doesn't really care about the children, but in other times, and in future episodes, as I've pointed out, she proves that she at least loves them a little bit. So maybe she's just putting on an act so the demons don't think she's weak and take away her position.
So they can be shipped. The One will most certainly be pleased by this news. Don't fail us. Only the most special meal can be presented to the One. Now, let us celebrate the coming harvest.
Okay, so you're probably wondering what Tifari and the One is, and honestly, it's not covered in the entire anime, and even I haven't gotten to it yet in the manga. As I said, I will not be covering past season 1 of this anime, so for purposes of this arc, the only thing you really need to know about is, the One seems to be some sort of demon king that needs the highest quality meat, and Tifari is some sort of event where the demons feed on quality humans. I know I'm about to be flamed in the comments by some hardcore manga reader, but that's my understanding.
Yeah, they're in a place no one would notice.
I never knew about a mark from when they took our blood, and it disappears that quickly.
Yeah, I knew, but I never even considered that would be it. Sorry.
Wow, now I feel bad about giving her a hard time about not noticing. I forgive you, Emma.
The next step is
How to break it. Let's see, if we tried to make an incision,
Mom might lift her hair and see it.
she'd catch on.
Also, a lot of kids, including Norman, who is right in front of you, have hair that doesn't even cover their ears. But yeah, the lift thing, I guess.
Well, whether or not we can break the transmitters, the tracking devices implanted in us aren't that useful in the grand scheme of things. The signal's so crude it can't specify an individual. Without checking, she can't tell where we are. Even if we get close to the gate or walls, it doesn't notify her.
Alright, I officially call bullshit. What technology did you say this was? 2015?
That kind of technology wouldn't exist in 2015.
We definitely have this sort of technology then, and I'm aware that Promised Neverland 2015 and Real Life 2015 may be slightly different. If their logic is it's too small to have a function that notifies Isabella when we get too close to the wall, that's a huge assumption with no evidence. That could have a potentially devastating consequence. Who says that the trackers have to send a notification when they're close to the wall anyways? That could all be handled by the transceiver, by just defining an area of the farm. If a signal is picked up past the area, notify the user. This is assuming that the tracker itself can't do this, which it probably could. It's just naive to think this, but whatever. They're later revealed to be right, so fuck me, I guess.
They must be confident they can come after us, as long as the tracking device is intact.
Hold on. If it were to send a notification, it'd only be after it's been destroyed?
That's a definite possibility.
What do you guys mean?
Weren't you listening? An alarm probably goes off once the trackers are broken.
So you acknowledge that there can be some sort of processing transceiver side then, just not location-based.
It's dangerous to even touch it.
So we can only destroy it when we escape.
But how do we deal with it? We have to know!
Actually, I've been thinking. The shape and size of it brings something else to mind. Leave it to me. I'll figure out a workaround.
You sure?
Uh-huh.
This is the reason why Emma and Norman knew it would be a great idea to bring Ray on board. Without him, right now they'd have no clue what to do. And as much as I'd like to dish on him, he's a fellow engineer, so you gotta root for your bros, you know?
Now the issue of taking the other children with us. The problem is, they all completely trust Mom. They probably won't be able to handle the truth of our situation.
This is true. If you put yourself in the children's shoes, Isabella's been caring for them, taking care of... What's that script writing? Isabella's been caring for them, preparing all the food for them, laughing, playing, taking care of them when they're sick. And most likely, none of them have ever been portrayed before, at least in any major way. All they have learned is trust, which may make it hard for them to believe what our three musketeers have to say.
There's another issue. Insufficient abilities. To put it bluntly, they're a hindrance.
Ray!
You know it's the truth.
On rewatch, for some reason, I didn't realize that Emma was literally about to throw this ball away. That's quite funny.
Some of them aren't good at physical activity. Not to mention the babies who can hardly walk.
I actually have an idea for how to deal with that.
Which is?
By playing tag.
Hey guys, the babies can't walk. How do we escape with them? Yeah, just make them play tag. Easy, that'll teach them. Yeah, playing tag will help the children that are actually capable of running, which would only be about 2/3 of them, and that's me being generous. And it's just not feasible where you could train up children that young to run at a speed that's helpful for escape. And remember, if they're escaping with everyone, they're only as fast as their slowest runner. And the fastest toddler run a 300-meter track in 2 minutes and 50 seconds, which is about 1.76 meters per second, or about this fast. Now, big up to that 3-year-old, but that's just not gonna happen.
I'll teach them how to push their bodies to the limit. As for sharpening their minds,
leave it to us.
Sharpen their minds? Have you ever tried to teach a 3-year-old anything? It's like trying to teach a dog how to implement a quicksort algorithm in brain fog. Like, theoretically you can, but you're probably just gonna both get tired and frustrated. So yeah, they decide to play tag in order to train their children to be able to run away from threats, like Isabella or maybe demons. This is actually a pretty good idea, since Isabella will just think that they're having fun when they're really getting the gains. I'm sorry, kids falling over will never not be funny. While Emma's getting the physical gains, Ray and Norman are focusing on the mental gains, like making sure the kids are aware of their footsteps and how the wind direction affects their ability to run.
Let's see now. That's downwind.
Sister Krone challenges the kids to a tag match, very creepily I must add.
Outside playing tag looks like fun. It's important that I get to know all of you better, so let me join in. This match will have a 20-minute time limit. I'll be it this round. Now then, run and hide.
That makes her the second adult in the series that we've seen legally chase around children without any legal repercussions. This is a good opportunity for Emma and Norman to do a sort of test run, pun not intended, of how the kids would fare against an adult. So in a way, they should have been glad that she did this. And you can see that everyone's taking this extremely seriously.
Now then, how will the enemy move?
She'll probably come looking for us first.
And on the way, she'll take out the younger, slower ones.
We also get to see that not only is Sister Krone
fast as fuck, boy,
we get also see that she's 2K IQ. As we see here when she cuts out shapes in the leaves to lure the children into one place in order to catch them all at once. She's able to catch most of the kids, including Don and Gilda, much faster than Norman usually can.
cover your mouth!
We knew Emma cared about her family and was quite naive already, but holy shit, this is another level. I don't know what's worse, the fact that she thought she could outrun Krone while carrying 2 kids, or the fact that she was right. It shows that what we mistake for naivety may just be justified confidence.
Running while carrying 2 kids takes stamina. You must be exhausted.
Emma.
Know what I've learned. Norman's failing point is his physical strength. I heard he was feeble when he was younger.
True.
Ray's weakness is that he's always a little too quick to give up. He tends to make fast decisions, but then abandons them just as quickly.
This we've seen no evidence of. He seems to have stuck with most of his decisions in the past, and he thinks quite logically. I feel like if this was meant to be a weakness of Ray, it should have been showcased at any point. I will point out more scenarios in future episodes which seems to completely disprove this point.
And you, Emma!
Your weakness is your naivete. Like carrying others when you're being chased, since they'd be helpless otherwise.
Yeah, no arguments here.
Listen, Emma, why don't we level with each other?
If you saw the harvest the other day, then you should know I'm on your side.
Ballsy chest me from Krone here. If Emma in fact did not know, you just clued her in. Which to be fair, may be a risk she's willing to take since it's not her ass on the line for this.
I found you.
And yeah, Emma's the first to be caught of the three, and she probably wouldn't have if she didn't choose to carry two children. When Norman and Ray split up, Krone without hesitation goes for Norman. This is because she read the file that Isabella gave her, and as previously stated, she knows that Norman is the weaker one physically. So it's nice attention to detail by the writers to show this. And in the manga, Krone even specifies how much time she plans to spend on each child. Krone realized that she might have bit off a little bit more than she can chew with these kids, and realizes the talent that they have.
They are truly elite.
Your time's up.
While the kids are celebrating their victory, Krone says this line.
Norman, Ray, Emma, and...
The camera pans over to Gilda, and Krone has this mischievous face. I wonder what plans she has for Gilda. Well, I don't wonder, I already know, but, you know.
Krone hasn't done anything since then. It seems strange.
The passage of time here is really confusing, but if you look closely, you can figure it out. On the calendar in the background, you can see that it's now 28th of October, meaning that the tag match was 10 days ago. I really think a 10 days later or something screen wouldn't kill them, but hey, that's quite a nitpick. Since nothing's happened in the last few days, it clues them into the fact that they may not be a threat to Isabella anymore.
I think Mom did something behind the scenes so that she wouldn't have to make a move herself. Think like Mom. What's the easiest situation you could hope for? Knowing your target's every move without ever having to do anything yourself.
But you said there are no hidden cameras or listening devices.
I think there's another person keeping an eye on us. And it's someone among the kids.
So there's a traitor.
I'll try and keep the Among Us jokes to a minute. There's an imposter among us. Let's just say throughout the episode, we've been clued into who it might be quite heavily. Anyways, that's the end of the episode. So let's go through some manga differences real quick. For this manga differences section, it's actually quite a juicy one. We have a whole manga only section that wasn't included in the anime. Bear in mind, I only cover what I view to be major changes. So subtle changes in dialogue or most minor points will be left out. If you want to see all the really minor differences, I recommend just reading the manga. It's really good. We get confirmation in this chapter that the outside world in the Promised Neverland has the same continents as ours. So we are on Earth right now. We also get to see who Mum's main suspects are, since she gets them all to do pointless chores, presumably to keep them busy or just to keep an eye on them. They realize that Don and Good are also suspected, which is good news, and they also realize that naturally Isabella would suspect the older children. But in the anime, this whole part is skipped. Ray also talks about the trackers before the Krone reveal. There's also a panel showing Isabella playing chess against all of the children, allowing them all to work together for a solution. In the manga, Isabella reveals that she was only going to make the older kids do chores until Sister Krone arrived. Well, she didn't reveal this to her children, but it can be implied. This is a great move, using delayed tactics like the threat of trackers and unnecessary chores to keep the kids in check. This would have been cool if it was included in the anime, but unfortunately they only have so much time, so it's understandable. Turns out the one is just an interpretation by the anime. In the manga, instead we get this weird text thingy. When Sister Krone goes to chase the children, she reveals that she also has a tracker, and when she says she has to play for real, she meant just not using it. The group talks about splitting up the children based on their weaknesses, which is interesting. What do I know? I'm just a guy on night mode, and I thank you for watching this video. If you really liked the video, consider leaving a like and subscribing. It took me a long time to write, record, and edit this video. Sorry for it being a bit on the longer side. If you want to continue your guy on night mode binge, here's the next episode if it's out. Alternatively, if you want to catch up on all my episodes, here's the playlist link. Anyways, love you, bye.